அது அவ்வளோக்கா நல்லா இருக்கு. அதுக்கு அடுத்த மாடல் வந்தா தான் நல்லா இருக்கும். இப்போ 13 விட்டாங்க. 13 வந்துட்டு நல்லா இல்லை. 13 ப்ரோ வந்துட்டு நல்லா இருக்கும். என்னோடது நல்லா இருக்கும். அப்போ 14 விட்டாங்கன்னா 14 ப்ரோ அந்த மாதிரி வந்துச்சுன்னா நல்லா இருக்கும். 14 வாங்கணும்.
I guess everyone were knocked off, is it?
Sir, sorry for the inconvenience. Please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yes.
Okay, I was saying that, there are some advantages of adapting the technology. To begin with, okay, when you go the technology way, first thing comes to mind is to reduce cost, right? Which means it's more about process automation, right? So when you do a certain job manually and versus automatically, or certain things can be automated, which means a desk itself can get redundant, not about saving time, but about saving the manpower. So therefore, the cost reduction is very evident. Second thing is the competitive advantage, because the most valuable information that comes from the system, it's all very dynamic. So people know that they are getting the information so dynamic, so updated. So therefore, that gives a competitive advantage for any logistics service providing companies. And today, we also in other words, we call it responsiveness, because the data transferring, okay, from one system to another, it's much easier. Those days it was like EDI data we call, right? Today we call APIs, meaning any system can be connected with another system. So which means like you use mobile phones, right? Share it, or we share, whatever it is. Like that, you can share all the informations today using the technology. That is one of the best part. And then I already touched upon this topic, compliance, which is regulations. So compliance also these days, any custom documents, okay, data. When you say compliance, is not only about customs, but also other regulatory authorities. Any document presentation, bookkeeping, record maintenance, okay, logs, everything is managed digitally. So that is very evident with the logistics industry also. And last but not least, the business analytics tools, right? Today, like even colleges for that matter, they want all the data digitalized, because they exactly know how many students each year are coming, on what category they are, what percentage in each department, or how many people from what background they're coming, or what are the placement companies, what are the placement agencies, and what is the placement percentage within 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. So the complete data today is given on a digital format. We call as business intelligence report, BI tool, right? So which comes in a graphical mode. The old days, like we used to dump Excel data, put a pivot table, and put some graphs and show. Today, those informations are so dynamic. So the management team is so interested to get those data on a business intelligent tools, right? So which means that helps them to take business decision much easier. And those informations are so dynamic. So which means that helps more on the decision making process. Okay, so we spoke about the strength of the technology when it comes to logistics, right? But logistics also have weaknesses, right? Because the main thing is it's not a very cost effective thing, because the cost of the capital expenditure is very high when you want to have a hardware and software stuff, right? Plus, in some countries, in some places, the disaster management system, if there's any contingency, the data loss, we always believe in, like, keeping paperwork, right? I mean, which is some people still have that legacy. But then having digitalized, the good part is like we spoke about, but the bad part is the data security, right? Or disaster recovery plans, the lack of disaster recovery plans, recovery methodology, that's a problem. But otherwise, that's all exceptional. But then overall, if you see, the best part is about the benefits. So that is actually super dominating. So therefore, people prefer to go digital in the logistics side also. And more than anything, in logistics industry, communication is made much easier. Today, I work for a US company. Okay, I run about 200 people close to. So we manage the US operation sitting in India. Today, that's possible because I have a phone where I have my US number. If I can call you like I'm calling in US as such, I can pick up my phone, which is on my desk. So today, remotely, there are applications which will have not just a digital number, but the landline itself, not a WhatsApp call or something. It's the landline call itself. You can pull it to the mobile. Okay. Not only that, today I'm sitting in Chennai and you guys are in Coimbatore. So we're connecting via WebEx or Skype or my PC, whatever it is. So it's much easier. And today, many companies are marketing their products through social media. So that is another help. And email, I mean, nothing new, but I'm just saying. So today, conducting a business from a remote, it's much easier than doing physically whatever location it is, because the main part is the communication. Because there are multiple channels today to communicate. That actually is really helping a lot. Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay, so we'll go further. The thing is, I'm not a very big fan of this online thing, but sometimes like we are forced to do this sometime because of time constraints and stuff like that, because I love to be more interactive, but I know it's so difficult to sit in remote place and also be interactive and with so many bigger crowd. So if at all like you have an inconvenience, perhaps you have to excuse me. Yeah.
No problem, sir. It's going well.
Okay. So I'll talk about two things and then I think I can conclude. So one, I'm going to talk about e-commerce, right? So tomorrow's logistics will be e-commerce, because e-commerce is like no more domestic, right? Meaning that I always used to buy Amazon.in and Flipkart and stuff like that. Today, I can buy from America, right? I do not know where I buy. Instead of going to .in, I go to .com website. Perhaps there are certain products which is available in .com is not available in .in, because .com is for the US people predominantly, right? So sometimes it's believed that US products are perhaps much better. What you buy in US and what you buy in India is different. The products what they use, we don't even consider using it. So therefore today, if you wanted to buy anything from US or UK or any developed countries or even China, you can still buy from India online, right? And that's very normal these days. Those days are domestic. Even the logistics process are very easy, because you can club it together and move it as one package, meaning that I buy 5 products from 5 different stores, online stores in US. I can bring everything together to one place in US itself and then consolidate it and then move it on air, because that is much cheaper. That becomes much cheaper. So today, e-commerce itself is an industry by itself. It is so vast. Okay, the e-commerce business is growing much faster than what we think, because every company wanted to go online and they want to grow their business and they want to expand their market. So e-commerce is the only option to do it. And e-commerce business, if you see, that has grown exponentially. The market, if you see in $1 trillion, the e-commerce business 2017 was about 2.24 trillion. We are talking about 2022 right now, which is 4.23, which is almost double from 2017 till 2022, which is like within 5 years. Okay, the market is doubled in trillions, and it is anticipated to grow 5.87 trillion in 2025, which is in another 3 years. So which is like almost like another 60% growth it will attain. So which is a huge thing, right? So today, because the market is so expanding, every shipping companies, airline companies, cargoes are converting into e-commerce businesses. So therefore, the air freight probably will increase, because when you say e-commerce, you cannot take a long transit, right? Today we don't need a product for longer period. So meaning that we don't have patience, we don't have waiting time. So therefore, if e-commerce grows, air freight will exponentially grow compared to ocean freight. Okay. The last part I would say, I guess all the people who are listening or somewhere, I think they are studying logistics as a main subject or an allied subject, right? If at all you are choosing logistics as a career, I think that's a great decision, because this industry always grows. If you notice, no flights or no aircraft has stopped flying or running, during pandemic. I mean, of course, the passenger flight have stopped, but no cargo flights were stopped and no vessels were stopped. Meaning the supply chain has to be intact, come what may, right? So this industry is not only always like very vigilant and does good, but it always grows, and the growth opportunities are very, very high, because it carries a very much diversified job profiles. One can work in a port, one can work in operations, one can work in customer service, okay, trucking, warehousing, customs, depends on our skill set. You can always work in different places, but different places or work requires different skill set. So which means if you are an average guy, you still have a job. If you are speaking very well, you can still have a better job in sales and customer service and sales support, etc., etc. And the opportunities are very, not limited at all, because logistics is very standardized business, meaning the language, what is the logistics language that we speak in India is perhaps the same in anywhere in the world, or whatever we speak in whatever they speak in other countries, it's more or less applicable, because the terminologies, the Incoterms or the shipping terminologies, what we speak, it's all standardized words, and meaning that if I study logistics in Chennai or India, I can apply that knowledge in anywhere in the world, which is the best part. So that is why if you see more logistics people, they travel consistently. They work in overseas. It's very normal for the logistics guy to work in Dubai, and next month, the next year, they come to India and they continue to do exactly the same what they were doing in Dubai, as an example. And Middle East, as an example, they are the country where like pull or attract more logistics people, because when you are good at logistics, people say, why don't you go and work for Dubai or Qatar or Saudi or anywhere, right? The market is so huge, and it is one of the very highly paid industry next to IT, I would say. Maybe down the line, the salaries are very less, but when you go a manager and above categories, the salary, the kind of salary slab we have currently, it's much higher than any other industry, I would say, right? Because in people with logistics experience for 10 or 5+ years in one particular domain, if they become strong, and meaning that they can get very highly paid. And international exposure I spoke about, career opportunities I spoke about, diversified job profiles, and also I spoke about remuneration, right? So these 4 are the major reason for one to choose logistics as a career. So if anybody choosing logistics as a career, all that is required is patience and a little consistent, because today's generation, people don't have patience. They want to grow much faster. Every year they want to double the salary. Probably that's something not the reality what offers, right? So therefore one has to have patience, at least till they gain some momentum within the industry to learn a particular product, air or ocean or export or import, or one department, customer service, operation, documentation, accounts. So until you gain that exposure, you have to wait patiently. Once you have that skill set, and then there is always companies who are ready to attract, who are ready to give an offer to you guys. So it's a great opportunity for anybody who's chosen logistics as a career. So my good luck to all. So do you guys have any questions on the job market about logistics? What do you want to study or anything?
Sir, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm Kripashankar.
Yeah.
Sir, what are the extra courses we need to study for logistics as career?
What are the, sorry, your voice is echoing.
Extra courses, sir. extra courses we need to learn, sir?
Extra courses, when you say technically, extra courses are not mandatory as long as you understand the basics very strong. The company would always would probably hire and train you. Sometimes, yes, the courses, short-term courses, if you study, what happens is like they focus more on the work-based, very practical way of teaching and training. So because they go out of the curriculum most of the times, right? So therefore, what happens is you get that extra mileage when you go for the interview, because you basically know what the work is, and you can be perhaps a better prospect for the employer for you to hire. So that's what I would say. But otherwise, even within whatever you are studying now, MBA or BBA, whatever it is, if you are very attentive, that's more than enough. But the only challenge here is you should speak well. Okay, you have to articulate well, because end of the day, today, what is there? I mean, if you go for an interview, if you see, everything is there in your resume, right? What is not there in the resume is how do I speak or how do I conduct myself? So that is what every HR is looking at. Okay, a person, they probably, I also do interviews. So I only see a person whether the person is able to understand what I'm speaking or I'm able to understand what he's talking about. So if that is one, you are through. Number one. Number two, I will also see whether this person, he or she, is a trainable resource. Meaning, if I spend some time in training you, and which means that will you be a good resource for me? So if I feel that you are a trainable resource, then I'll hire. The last part is about the commitment, because today people want to jump jobs, right? If you are very serious about your profile, your base should be very strong. So every 1 year you can't switch a job. So meaning that you have to be very, very stable in working for a company. So we always check the stability, that, at least minimum 2 years, 3 years commitment. Not just me, any company you go, they expect at least 2 years commitment from you. So that's very obvious, right? I mean, you're not just going to learn something and once you learn, you are not out of the company, right? They probably want to make use of your knowledge, what you have gained from the company itself. So that normally takes about more than a year. So that commitment is required. So coming back to question, it's not mandatory as long as you study very well in the college technically, but there are some short-term supporting courses like what we also offer. So such courses will help you to understand much intensive about the business in the present context. So that will have an extra edge, and you also have an additional placement partner who can also aid your placement opportunities. I mean, increase your placement opportunities. Yeah, but end of the day, you have to study well, whatever you're committed to do, so that you have to do. That's the crux.
Thank you, sir. So I have one more question.
Yeah.
So what are the soft skills we need to learn for logistics?
Okay, there's no specific soft skill for the logistics. See, soft skills is like probably somebody want to be very successful in their roles, whatever roles they are, they should have soft skills, right? Okay. Soft skills, when I say, there are two things. One, the first thing is about leadership skills, right? We're taking initiative. Leadership, when we say, it's a culmination of many other soft skills, right? One has to have very good interpersonal skills, communication skills, right? You have, one have to be very positive about whatever they see, very optimistic about the things, mainly about leadership, taking initiative, right? That's one. So it's very common. Soft skills are very common. It's not industry specific. So if you ask me, as long as you speak well, as long as you interact, you don't feel shy in talking, I think that is more than enough. Because whether you like it or not, today the business is conducted in a language which is English. Okay, though it's not our mother tongue, but we are forced to practice it, because these days people judge on our ability to speak English, right? Because when you speak well, they believe that you will work well. So at least you get a chance to work. If you don't speak well, even though you are knowledgeable, people don't really consider giving an opportunity to you. So that's very unfortunate, but then that's how industry sees. So all you have to do is you have to speak well. That's it. For that, you need to practice.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sir, I have a question. I'm Saravanan, faculty. There is a myth that the logistics industry and the growth path in the logistics industry is very taller and very, I mean, if the student who starts in the basic level to reach the managerial position and above, they have to spend a lot of time. That means 10 years and 15 years. Is that so?
Yeah, I mean, it's 50-50, I would say. Again, let's say, for example, a person joins in a warehouse, okay, like warehouse operator, maximum become a warehouse manager. He can never become a customer service manager in his life. Probably. Why? Because, I mean, of course, provided if he improves his articulation skills, right? Then it's different. If you don't improve, I'm always managing only the trucking companies, only the warehouse parties, the drivers and stuff like that. Then probably I have a limitation, right? My job profile getting saturated. So if I improve my personality and soft skill side of mine, and then you have no limitations, right? I can never do sales as an example, because sales is not everybody's business, right? That's a skill by itself. So if I'm not practicing that, because all the director of the company, all the managing directors, the owners of the company are salespeople, right? Because they are responsible for the growth of the company. So therefore they have to do sales. That is the ultimate. So which means everybody cannot be a sales guy, right? So that means you have to grow. So I mean, it's 50% right, because it takes years, it takes a decade to grow. But then, which means if you're only mastering the job role, there is a limitations for your growth. Parallelly, okay, one side you're mastering what you're doing, okay, you're learning logistics as a product. At the same time, you are also improving your own self, your personality, okay, your speaking abilities, your interactions, all those things. If you improve, and trust me, and there is no limitations at all, okay, because we have seen, you take me as an example. It took me hardly 8 years to not 8 years, 10 years to become a branch manager of a company, a Dubai based company, right? I mean, I haven't been to college also, matter of fact. I studied in correspondence. It doesn't really matter today, because today nobody asks me what, where and where I've studied, because all you have to do is first 2 jobs, okay, where you work, that is what matters, and how long you worked and what have you done in those companies. That is what people ask today. And today, for me, if somebody is asking me, they will not even ask where I started. All they will ask is, where have you worked last, and what is the best thing that you did for the company that you worked last. So your next job is based on your previous job and not on your academic skills. Your academic skills basically will help you to get your first job or second job maximum. Once you get into the first job and second job, then invariably those 2 jobs will get you a third job, or that will guide you further to probably set up your own company, right? Academics is very important, very good. At the same time, once you, I mean, it's not that you are very strong academically, you'll be successful at work. So work is different, academic is different. But if you are academically very strong, the probability of winning in the work is much higher. So that's why we say you have to study well. If you don't study well, I mean, it's still okay. There are people like perhaps on the work front, they'll have to cover up a little more, right? For the people who already studied well, very strong in academics, they may probably at ease, they may grow. But again, it all depends upon various other factors, your commitment to the work, your interpersonal skills, your leadership skills, all that matter. Because in this industry, I have seen 2 extremes. I've seen many people 10 years, 5 years, they do the same job. They have no problem at all. And there are people who cannot do the same job more than 2 years. So it depends on your perception, how you look at your job. If you are a guy who cannot do this monotonous job again and again, and then I think in that case you will grow. Yeah. So it's all about the individual perspective. If you want to grow, you will have to take some extra effort. That extra mile that you walk, and only then you grow. Doing the same job again and again will not give you a different result. So therefore, it's about the individual. So it's about individual mindset. Sometimes, yes, you have to blame a company. Very rarely that is. Then in those times, you probably have to consider switching the job. Very few companies do not have a growth aspiration. They just survive. So, but I have a dream to grow. So then I cannot associate myself with a company just willing to survive. So I have to change my boat. Yeah.
Yeah, great, sir. Actually, I thought to ask the same. Actually, I have a myth like yeah, logistic jobs are not challenging, so and the salary is very less at the start. So this will make the candidate to feel monotonous, so that he may not continue for the longer period at the logistics industry. He cannot withstand because the job was not challenging, one. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, salary levels are very, very high now. Today, there are so many multinational companies setting up office in India. They have changed the salary equations completely, right?
Great.
For example, 7 years before I started my own institution, my salary was about 1.5 lakh, which is in 2000.
Okay.
2014, I started my institution. Before I quit my job and started my own entity, if you ask me. Okay, and that's not a normal salary in 2014 actually for like 32 years old person, right? So now again the market have really changed, and probably they're offering more salaries because now the BPO market, as an example, right? The same logistics industry, you work for an American or European company, your salary ranges are much higher. Not that you have to work in a very third party companies. There are like Maersk and Hapag and CMA, they opened their own captive centers in India where they are operating operations from US and UK and all. So those companies really pay very high because they don't follow Indian salary slabs. They follow neither US tab and they are in between. So which means that is much higher in compared to dollar value. I mean, I'll give a classic example. If you're working for US as an example, the minimum salary, if you bring anybody to office and make them work, not a labor work, but office work, it will cost you $2,000, which is in today cost it is $1,60,000, ₹1,60,000. Okay, as against Indian base salary, even if I give 25,000, it's still worth it, right? 25,000 versus 1,60,000. Imagine the ratio, right? It's more than 6 times. It's 1/6 or 1/7 of the salary for the fresher. I'm saying proportionately as you grow up, the salaries might increase. So $100,000 in US is no big deal. 70 lakh per annum. In India, 70 lakh per annum is like the CEO salary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Great. Yes.
So it's up to each individual. Like if you really want to eye on a bigger salary, which means you have to eye not on a bigger salary, but bigger title. Your title is directly proportionate to your salary. So you have to only eye on title. You want to get a better title, then you have better, you demonstrate a better personality.
Okay, sir. Okay. Guys, do you have any questions? Okay. Guys, do you have any questions? Anyone? Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Let's go for the conclusion. Right?
Thank you, sir, for the informative session. Now I solicit Ritika to propose the vote of thanks.
I feel privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this special occasion. I would like to thank today's chief guest, Mr. Jayachandran. Thank you, sir. I would like to extend my thanks to our training and placement officer, Mr. Saravanan, sir. Thank you, sir. And also I thank my faculty members for their presence. At last, I thank our students and friends.
Okay, I'm equally happy to get to know each one of you. So thanks to, once again, I thank the college management for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. I always love to talk to as many as people. So it's a great opportunity for me also. I hopefully sometime I'd like to meet you all in person. Let's see. Yeah. Can I sign out?
Hello, sir.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can wind up. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.